here. At least 10 more Open Series points for these two players, which is a big deal.
Yes. Though, this is all relative, and there's some other players in here that both these players are chasing that could end up this weekend with far more than 10 points.
Polluted Delta is where Anderson's going to start. He'll figure out what land he does want to search up. Shortcut a little bit here as Lossett will start things off with a Prairie Stream. For Joe, it's been a kind of a range of emotions here this weekend where, he wasn't sure if he's going to be able to make top 8, given his record, picking up a second draw. He was going to have to win out and cross his fingers a little bit. That broke his way. Then he saw the performance Logan Myers was putting up this weekend, saying, am I going to be on the outside looking in going to the Invitational? If Eric Hawkins has a good weekend, Hawkins has had a pretty poor weekend, all things considered. So for Joe, he's sitting pretty good right now.
He's got to be happy where he's at right now, but there's still a lot of pressure on this top 8 because your opponent here, someone who's in the race with you, 2 people on the other side of the bracket, they're people in the race with you. So if Joe busts out in the quarterfinals, he's got to be kind of happy relative to where he thought he was coming in to this tournament. But it's possible that people really pass him in the standings.
Polluted Delta there for Joe. Going to pass the turn back over to Anderson. Todd going to play a Soulfire Grandmaster along with a Shambling Vent. Pass the turn back with an active Jace. And it's this 1-2 punch of creatures we've seen from Todd so much this weekend. A Jace and Soulfire Grandmaster. With how his deck is built, they both require answers.
Yes. And not only do they require answers on turn 2, but they require answers on turn 10.
Yep.
And that's very rare to see out of these 2-mana creatures in general. But Jace and Soulfire Grandmaster definitely scale up in power as the game goes on for a longer time.
Remember back in the day when Seeker of the Way and Soulfire Grandmaster were battling it out at the 2-mana spot?
Who knows what's better?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
for a while it was 3 Seekers and 1 Soulfire Grandmaster.
Yeah, you don't want to draw the second Soulfire Grandmaster because the second power doesn't do a whole lot. 2 copies of Seeker of the Way, pretty good. Yep. The prowess stacks up, the lifelink adds up. So it's close. Nope.
Yeah, the jury. I don't think it's out anymore. Anderson going to draw a card here.
I think Todd may have moved a little fast there. And
did not activate Jace, right?
Yeah, and his hand's a little messy right now with a lot of lands, so that's a costly miss.
Going to play a Bloodstained Myers, land number 4. I think we might see a Crackling Doom here. Yeah, going to search for probably a basic mountain.
Well, that's got to be the way he does it because he doesn't have red mana and he can't get a battle land untapped.
And there it is. Down goes the Nissa. Here come the beatdowns. Jace can flip if it like. 4 cards in the graveyard right now. But for now, we head back over to Joe Lossett. Anderson with a couple more copies of Crackling Doom in hand. 21 to 14 are the life totals here. Joe going to sacrifice the Polluted Delta. And there is a basic Swamp, and I think we might have a Languish on the way. It's going to be a Siege Rhino instead. Good target for Crackling Doom.
Yep. Anderson's not upset about this. Crackling Doom in the graveyard, even with Jace ready to flip.
And Todd will draw. Going to activate Jace. Picked up another copy of Crackling Doom. He's Crackling Doom flooded.
Hard for that to be the case against Sex with Siege Rhino.
That's very true. Going to start by flashing back Crackling Doom. Siege Rhino down, going to gain some life. Let's make it a little bit more thanks to Soulfire Grandmaster, as Jace and the Grandmaster are getting their beatdowns on. Player's going to make sure life totals are correct. We'll see if Anderson's going to play that Mystic Monastery that he has in his hand. And then we're going to go back Lossett's way. It's a very good start here for Todd.
Though, not a lot in the way of card advantage. He's got a lot of removal. He's got some stuff going on the table. But he may lose a late game this way. He's really on the search now for Treasure Cruise or Painful Truth. That's the type of thing he needs to pull ahead.
Looking to reload?
Yeah.
Oliver Greener and Robert Geary, if you're here, please come to customer service.
Losett, a lot of cards in his hand at this point. Basic Forest, you can see. So he'll play that. And now, this will be a Den Protector. Pass the turn back, ready and able to bring it back. Utter end the draw. Jace going to tick up. Here comes the Soulfire Grandmaster. Den Protector is going to unmegamorph. Going to get back a Siege Rhino. And Todd will gain a little bit of life up to 24 as Den Protector did block. Lossett going to sacrifice this Flooded Strand.
Chip shots are starting to add up.
Yep.
This is not something you see out of Todd's deck commonly because he doesn't have Manus Rider, but even Lossett spending his turns, casting Siege Rhino, getting the Siege Rhino back, casting it again, the damage is adding up.
See what Joe wants to cast as he's going to organize his mana. It looks like it's going to be Siege Rhino again. That's in there. Pass the turn back. Is it time to Crackling Doom here for Anderson?
It's possible that he wants to Utter End here because it's more mana efficient this way. But I guess Utter End allows him to answer some other card types that the Doom may not be able to answer.
Yeah, some flexibility there. Dispel going to take care of this Crackling Doom. Lossett going to pass the turn back over to Anderson and Dragon Master outcast the draw.
Big draw. Got that magic number of lands.
It's odd. I definitely agree that that's a good draw, no doubt. This is going to Utter End, play Dragon Master outcast attack. I think what Todd actually wanted to draw was a land, so he could give Crackling Doom buyback.
Yes.
But this is fine too.
It's the enviable territory of lands and spells both being good.
Over to Lossett we're going to go. We'll see if he has something like a Bring Light here to maybe find a Languish or what have you. Clear up the board a little bit. This will be an Utter End to take care of the Dragon Master outcast for good. Lumbering Falls here for Joe. Pass the turn back over to Anderson. Todd will draw a card. I believe Ochitai's Command as he comes across with Soulfire Grandmaster.
Big draw. Anderson knows that there's still a Nissa at the minimum left over in Lossett's hand. And Lossett's deck with a lot of larger mid-range creatures. Type of spot where Ochitai's Command shines.
Joe also with a copy of Abzan Charm in hand. Curious to see what the plan is this turn. It might be time for Bring to Light. All right. See what this is going to bring along with it.
Yep, there it is.
Slumgar's Command.
Destroy Planeswalker, -3/-3. A nice one of in Lossett's list. Great to be able to find on demand. Also a fine card to draw.
Here's Ochitai's Command. See if this is going to resolve. See what Todd wants to get back. Going to go with Jace and draw a card.
Anderson's deck just never runs out.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Going to draw and discard here.
He hasn't even found Painful Truths or Treasure Cruise yet.
Yep. It's funny because that Slumgar's Command was so good, right?
Yeah.
It just killed Jace, and it just killed Soulfire Grandmaster, and they're back. It's like nothing even happened. And Todd even has it to rest this turn, too. Joe might try to cast that Abzan Charm in response if his mana lines up correctly.
Well, does he have a Smoldering Marsh that he can go get with his Wooded Foothills?
He has one in his deck list. Well, the way that goes, and Den Protector in the grip. So Lossett gonna let the Abzan Charm go. He's gonna sacrifice the fetch land, go get a land. And now he will go grab the Smoldering Marsh. Or excuse me, he'll grab a Cinder Glaze, pardon me. And I think actually this morning Marsh might just be on the battlefield with the canopy vista over there.
Okay.
So that's why he couldn't search it up. One player's going to shuffle and present. We're going to head back Joe Lissette's way in just a moment here. Complete disregard, going to go after the Soulfire Grandmaster. That'll work. And now a morph, which is Den Protector with the necessary mana to unmegamorph it and get a card back. So these players are going toe-to-toe. Here's Fiery Impulse. Gonna unmegamorph. See what Joe wants to get back here.
In terms of raw card count, the safest thing to do is get back a spell because of Ojutai's command. But Den Protector or Nissa have way higher ceilings than getting back an Abzan Charm.
Feels like Bring the Light's got a pretty high ceiling too, depending on what he wants to try to find in a certain situation. It's like he might just play a little bit safe by getting a Den Protector back.
I think the only real thing left to go get back at this point with a Bring to Light is a Siege Rhino, and Todd's got that covered pretty easily.
Here comes a Shambling Vent, a little chip shot there. Looks like gonna fall down to 7, it appears. Anderson gonna play a Mystic Monastery, pass the turn back. Lossett will draw a card. We know he's got Den Protector in his hand as these two players go back and forth.
And Anderson down to 1 card in hand. This is an opportunity for Lossett to use the Lumbering Falls to take out Jace. The risk here is Crackling Doom.
I think Todd's hoping. I really want you to fire that thing up. Quick update for you guys is Joe Lissette's going to play a morph. It'll be that Den Protector, Tom Ross. Currently up a game against Lee Marino in the Atarka Redmere. Here is Jace. Crackling Doom. Gonna go after Lissette's board here. We could actually see Todd put Joe down to 1. This Doom's gonna put him down to 5. He can flashback Crackling Doom to take care of the other creature, put Joe down to 3. Fire up Shambling Vents, put him down to 1.
Yep, that's the odd thing about the texture of this game is Anderson has made a lot of inroads in Lissette's life total. Usually this matchup isn't gonna go down that way, but Anderson has just randomly found a lot of copies of Crackling Doom, and Joe has to be concerned about his life total here. He can't just sit around looping Den Protectors all day long.
Den Protector's gonna unmegamorph, of course. Curious to see what Lossett wants to get back. Looks like he's gonna go the Den Protector route again. Anderson gonna quickly untap. A card like Kolaghan's Command's a busted draw this turn. Fiery Impulse.
It's not shabby.
Yeah.
I mean, it at least allows him to keep the Jace in play.
Talking look through the graveyard, see if there's anything that he wants to rebuy. He wants to Crackling Doom. Does he have the necessary mana to fire up the vent too? Yeah, he does. Puts you down to 1. And Fiery Impulse at the ready to kill Den Protector if it comes back.
And what I like about this play from Anderson is it sort of suggests that this turn he did not draw a removal spell.
Yep.
And he needed to flash back. He did in fact draw a removal spell, and it's possible if Lossett doesn't respect that possibility, he's going to do another fidgety line to play here rather than try to gain some life.
There's Den Protector. And what's unique about this situation is if Joe wants to fire up Lumbering Falls, because right now I think Todd fires off Fiery Impulse.
Yes, because Joe has to just let this die because he's dead on board.
Yep. He does not get to Den. Well, if he does Den Protector, then he'll just die on board, depending on what's in his hand and what he can return.
Or I suppose he can get back complete disregard, which is better than nothing, but it's a dead end from a card advantage standpoint.
Oh, he better tap his mana right. Because right now, with the way his mana tapped, he can't cast complete disregard. He's going to un-Megamorph. Yep.
Because I think the only interaction in his graveyard for a Shambling Ven is the complete disregard. I think that's the only card he can get back.
Legacy players, this is an announcement about prizes. If you
Gotta get back. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotta get back Obzon Charm. Well,
it's also some risky business. I mean, Todd's got a lot of draws.
he sure does. You're gonna clap those hands. How do we do?
Once again, legacy players who are going to make top 32.
He's taking a look at the graveyard.
Tax information to us before we give you your prize. Please see us at the stage at the conclusion of your match.
He's just gonna pass the turn back. That's not a game winner. We're going back over to Joe. Languish in Joe's hand right now.
Legacy players, if you believe
Den Protector gonna come across for a bunch.
Whoa. An aggressive play.
I'm just gonna pass the turn back. I wonder what's in Joe's hand.
He's got the Lumbering Falls back on D.
Yep, it's a safe blocker.
So I suppose, yeah, Lossett's got to try to get the game over with.
See what Joe's gonna go towards now. Oh, Rhino's huge here. Joe gonna go up to 4. Todd gonna end up taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total for the turn. And we're gonna go back Anderson's way. I think he started to find some lands. Here's a Duress. Complete Disregard and Languish. Disregard's gonna go. Mystic Monastery, pass the turn back. Anderson running out of fuel now. Needs a big top deck. Lossett picked up a copy of Windswept Heath. Lossett has the ability to fire up Lumbering Falls this turn if he wants to. Don't know if he wants to get that aggressive or it changes the clock at all. Just Den Protector. In for 5. Anderson, take a draw. Mountain. Might be time to play that polluted Delta, perhaps.
I think he needs to represent some strength to keep Lossett from attacking with everything, so Anderson has the breathing space to draw Treasure Cruise or Painful Truths.
Sure.
It's a big win. It's a big win for Todd if this keeping 2 cards in hand causes Lossett to only attack with this, because now Painful Truths is still good.
Yep. The draw. A swamp, 3 lands, and that's going to do it. Joe Lossett's going to win game number 1 here over Todd Anderson. 5-color Bring to Light. Up a game over Jeskai Black, in a game it felt like Todd had a real stranglehold on.
Yeah, he never found one of his sources of card advantage to really cement the deal. Lossett found a lot of Den Protectors, and that was really the difference.
Yeah.
Lossett just had a little bit left over at the end, and it's because he found more 2-for-1s than Todd did.
To the sideboards we're going to go. We will start with Todd Anderson, his 2 Master of the Unseen and Negate, 2 Radiant Flames, 2 Irrational Clerics, and Erase, 2 Dispel, 3 Infinite Obliteration, and 2 Disdainful Strokes.
So I think you're going to see the 2 copies of Mastery of the Unseen coming in this matchup. Some of the counter spells as well. Definitely Disdainful Stroke. I think Negate and Dispel are also probably above the line to bring in. This also could be a matchup where Infinite Obliteration comes in. Joe just doesn't have a whole lot of ways to win the game. Infinite Obliteration can break up a Den Protector loop, and without his Siege Rhinos, Lossett might struggle to be able to win the game.
Yeah, Joe's creatures, 4 Jason's Prodigy, 3 Den Protector, 2 Nissa, Vastwitz, 4 Siege Rhino. So, as you said, not a ton of creatures.
And there's no backup plan here as far as I know. There's no copies of Master of the Unseen. There's no other creature he can really go to. So if his win conditions get stripped, he doesn't have there's not a lot he can do about that.
On the other side of things here for Joe, 2 Infinite Obliterations of his own, an Offense of the Foremost, 2 Negates, 3 Painful Truths, 4 Surge of Righteousness, and then 3 Radiant Flames.
Definitely 2 copies of Negate, 3 copies of Painful Truths will be coming in. I think Infinite Obliteration is okay in this matchup, though with Todd citing a Master of the Unseen as a backup win condition, it's not a card that I would bring in.
Well, those are the options there for the 2 players. And as they do sideboarding ready here for game number 2, we're talking SCG Game Night, the very popular promotion here with Star City Games. It's December. That means there's still some time left to get the old reindeer.
Absolutely. Head over to StarCityGames.com/game night for more information. Find the game night closest to you. Every month we produce new pins and tokens we send out to the stores who sign up for game night. Stores can run game night any way they want, any format they want. Just get players in their store on a regular basis for some fun and friendly magic. This is the December kit. We've got January coming down the pipeline, Grizzly brand. If you want to get signed up for this or for February, which we also have here, Magus of the Moo, debuting this weekend. Head over to StarCityGames.com/game night for more information. Contact your Star City Games in-store play representative. And for Canadian store owners, we have changed the shipping rates. We are now just charging U.S. domestic shipping rates to send the kits out to Canada. So if you're a player, tell your store owner to bring game night to your store. And again, if you're a store owner, contact your Star City Games in-store play representative to get set up.
Game number 2 between Lossett and Anderson about to be underway as these two players are going to review each other's deck list. One of the benefits of making the elimination rounds is you get the opportunity to do that. And for Joe Lossett, no stranger to elimination rounds. 17 Open Series top 8s. Let's make it 18 as we do upgrade the graphic here. 1 invitational top 8. That took place in Charlotte 2014, our season 1 invitational last year. 5 wins on the Open Series, 4 of which in standard. And for this weekend for Joe, if he's able to win this tournament, that would be his 3rd Open Series win this year. He won at Columbus during season 1 and Richmond at the season 1 invitational at the Open that weekend.
And he's trying to take his spot Players Championship from something like 95% to 100%.
Pretty much.
He can do it this afternoon.
For Todd, number 7 on our season 4 leaderboard. It's hard for me not to laugh. I don't know why. 26th Open Series top 8 for Todd.
That's just so many of them.
That is a lot. Between the two of us, it's 6?
I think 3 apiece.
3 apiece? Yeah, I have 3, you have 3? Okay, so between the two of us, 6. For Todd, 26. 6 wins. Most recent win in Cincinnati with Infect, thanks to Tom Ross. We're giving him that deck list. 3 invitational top 8s, a win in Atlanta in season 3 of 2012. These two players, no strangers to the elimination rounds, and now they do get paired against each other. And, I think about it, I don't remember really Joe and Todd getting paired against each other very often, even though they play in so many events.
Yeah, if you ask me to go back and recall feature matches involving the two of them from this year, none really spring to mind.
Yeah.
This one's got a lot riding on it, though.
It sure does.
It's minimum 5 Open Series points.
Some updates here for you guys. Lee Marino, Tom Ross, they're going to game number 3. Marino was able to tie things up in the Antarctica Red Mirror. And then for Paul Bradford, his 4-color rally deck against Vikra Kudva. Paul Bradford up a game. You felt rally was going to be pretty favorite there.
Of all the matchups in the top 8, from deck to deck, that one feels like the most lopsided matchup.
And we do mention that Zach Mandelblatt with Jeskai Black up a game over Logan Mize by Gobs on Aggro. Mize has been on a tear this weekend. We'll see if he can get by Mandelblatt, though he is down a game right now.
And for all the work that Logan's done, I mean, he walks out of here losing in the quarterfinals. It's a good weekend, but not a great one, especially since at the minimum, one of these two will end up picking up more points. And quite possibly a second one as well.
Whoever wins this match between Lossett and Anderson, that's 5 more points. So they'll move up to at least 15. And if they're able to make it to the finals, it's min 20 with the potential of 25 Open Series points. So the numbers next to their name, 5 and 7, well, those could be changing soon. Up or down, by the way.
Yes.
Those numbers could go up or down depending on the finishes of the players in the top 8. Tom Ross, Logan Mize, the other two. Just a big tournament for all 4 of those players. And some players who did fly out here to Denver, a kind of a poor one, but they do get Vegas next weekend.
Yeah, there's one last crack at it.
Yeah.
And those points from the Invitational count towards the 2015 race.
They do.
And there's a lot more points at an Invitational than there is at any of the Opens.
It's going to be a heck of a show next weekend.
Yes, it will be.
Me, you, Matthias, not going to bring you guys the coverage all weekend long. We'll have Nick Miller and Ken Crocker in the sideboard for our last Invitational of the year, Las Vegas, Season 4. I just can't wait to see how it's going to shake out. And still for me, it's who wins that Invitational too.
Yep.
Because that could be your real shakeup.
Yeah, I was talking to Matthew Tickle while we were getting ready for the top 8. A little disappointed. He said, I think at this point I'm out. Can't make the Players' Championship. And I said, there's always Vegas. He sort of smiled and laughed. He's like, yeah, all I got to do is win. No big deal.
That's it.
But it's possible that it's someone here who might be, outside of looking in for the race. It's possible it could be someone, a total stranger to the Open Series, as we've seen several times before. Established pro that we don't see that often in the Open Series events.
Yeah, like Jacob Wilson.
Takes all kinds.
A Jace on turn 2 here for Todd Anderson. Mountain with the Bloodstained Mire. Sunken Hollow the land to start. Sunken Hollow the land to start for Joe Lossett as well. He'll play a Forest on turn 2. And he has a Jace of his own. The nice thing here for Todd in this matchup is Todd has a lot of nice answers to Jace.
Yes. And it's much harder for Lossett to remove one. Although he was able to just simply power through Jace several times in that first game.
Todd might have a nice turn here. Picked up a copy of Fiery Impulse. He's got to figure out what he wants to discard. But he's got Master of the Unseen and Fiery Impulse in hand.
Flooded Strand gets a Plains.
Yes, it does.
He can do it all this turn.
He's going to sacrifice that, this, that, your turn. That's a heck of a turn.
4 cards in the graveyard already.
Mm-hmm. This standard format has me hooked now. Every time I watch Todd's deck, I want to play it. When I watch Tarkaret, I want to play that. When I watch 4-Color Rally and it do its busted things, I want to play that.
Yep.
And those are 3 completely different style of decks.
When you're watching these kind of decks battle out, what's really noticeable to me is no one ever runs out. Because of the lands, you can kind of cram every 2 for 1 you want in the deck. So you want to play with Ojutai Command and Kolagon's Command? Normally, you can't do that sort of thing, but in this format, you can. And so if you want to focus your deck on being able to win an attrition battle, not only can you do that no matter what, every color's got its own cards you can go to. Todd's not playing green, doesn't even have access to Den Protector.
Yep.
Which used to be the superstar of those kind of games.
And that was the ultimate 2 for 1.
Now, you have Jace, Ojutai Command, Kolagon's Command, Treasure Cruise, Painful Truce. Neither of these players even bothering to play with Dig Through Time because they don't want to bother splashing it. There's no end of card advantage available to players. So if you want to make your deck do that sort of thing, you can do that as much as you want and in any colors you want.
Pluto Delta the discard. Time for Jace to flip. It'll start on 5. It's going to go up to 6. And Anderson will just pass the turn back. Going to be representing a card like Ochitai's Command right now. But we might just see a Mastery activation, among other things. Looks like Todd has a Treasure Cruise and 2 lands in his hand.
Yeah, he's I think, mindful of the Disdainful Strokes here. Doesn't want to run it in while Lossett's got a lot of mana up. And because Lossett's got Den Protector, Siege Rhino, Bring to Light, I think Todd can hope that at some point Lossett will tap out in his own main phase and then he can try to gas back up.
Lossett will draw a card. We're on his 4th turn of the game. Pluto Delta's land number 4. He'll just pass the turn back. Anderson going to predictably activate the Master of the Unseen. And now Lossett is going to take a moment here to sacrifice this Pluto Delta. And we might have an utter end here.
And then if that's the case, Anderson definitely getting paid off for not firing the Treasure Cruise last turn. Correctly predicted at some point in the near future, Lossett would have to tap out.
There's a Smoldering Marsh. And this... I'm trying to figure out what this is. Looks like it's going to be Kolagon's Command. Okay. Joe going to deal 2 to the Manifest. I think he's trying to decide what the other mode's going to be. Make Todd discard. So there goes a Shambling Vent very quickly.
Todd does not mind the discard here. His hand is land heavy, and he's about to refuel.
And what's kind of insane there is a minor thing, but the Manifest was an Ochitai's Command, and so Todd's going to gas back up, and he might want to leave Ochitai's Command in the graveyard because of the interaction with Jace.
Yep.
And that's the card he's going to leave.
Worst case scenario, if he doesn't find anything to do, he just play a land and flash that back.
Yeah. There's Smoldering Marsh. Jace is going to go up again. And Todd will just pass the turn back.
And this Jace ready to flash back card advantage should that be needed. And listen, if Lossett takes too long to answer this Jace, going Ultimate's definitely a plan here. It's not like Lossett's deck is equipped to kill very quickly.
Yep.
And Anderson can keep him busy for a very long time just with Mastery of the Unseen.
Lossett going to sacrifice this Polluted Delta. So he's going to search up a land here. 2 basics on the battlefield, so battle lands are live. Just depends on which one he wants to get. We'll go with the Prairie Stream off the Delta. And now it's an attempt at Bring to Light. We do know that Anderson has a copy of Disdainful Stroke in hand. And he says that's fine. Huh. Maybe he just counters what he gets with it since you have to cast that card. Yep, that's what he's going to do. So Disdainful Stroke the Slumgar's command.
And since Lossett's very far away from being able to Den Protector that spell back, I think Todd is saying, well, I'd rather Joe not have the Slumgar's command in the deck and rather than cut off the Bring to Light there.
And I'm just going to take a look at some of the cards he's exiled here. A bunch of lands along with the Fiery Impulse. Those are gone for good. Treasure Cruise, Oceanside's Command, and Disdainful Stroke in the graveyard. Bit of a weird hand here for Todd. A lot of good cards in the grip.
Yeah, there's basically the two paths here, from what I see, are do you just sit back on Mastery and Jace and just force the action on Joe a little bit, or do you try to accomplish something proactive?
Smoldering Marsh. Might be a flashback on the old cruise. Yep. I like that he's leaving Oceanside's Command down there, though.
Hey, want to flash that back next turn?
Yep. 3 more cards. 2 of them lands, 1 of them Oceanside's Command. Pass the turn back. Windows open here for Joe Lossett.
Joe's deck does not have a lot of cards, though, to hammer Todd in this spot. He's got his own copy of Treasure Cruise, but a lot of his follow-up plays here are creatures, which are likely to get killed.
And see, I'm kind of thinking back to kind of Magic in the past, where if you put your shields down like this, you might get persecuted or something. Your whole entire hand might be gone. Mind Twist or Mind Shatter or something like that. But that's not the case.
Gloom, Karma, Boil,
well.
Chill, Choke,
Yeah.
Perish,
Yeah.
Circle of Protection, X.
Yeah. Here's a Rhino, and Todd doesn't care much about that.
No.
If that's the big punishment, he's sitting just fine as he's going to take a draw step. But the set has a lot of cards in his hand too, so I think there's a lot of game left to be played here.
But Anderson definitely way up in terms of raw card count.
It looks like it's going to be a Crackling Doom. Was that with a Dispel? That'll resolve. Jace. Gonna go down. Try it again. Good to go. Anderson will pass the turn back. Jace starting to flex its muscles a little bit this game.
I'd say so. I mean, it's flashback, Terminate, and Ancestral. Looted. It's doing okay.
Starting to do its thing.
It's still in play.
Yeah.
Jace has been okay this game.
Absalom Charm going to allow us to draw a couple of cards here.
Yeah, it's been fine.
It's done some things. Nissa here.
This is a nice one.
Yep. There's a forest for Joe. There's a basic forest. Nissa will flip. We'll see if Joe wants to make a 4/4 or a Planeswalker. Or excuse me, or just plus it. Plus for negate. Back to Todd we go. Disdainful Stroke the draw. An island. An Utter End. Conveniently able to leave at 4 mana. Jace going to take up. Might see him just pass the turn here.
Yeah, I think he's got the option of play Jace, leave up Disdainful Stroke, which he's going to do. The alternative line is just pass and plan on activating Mastery.
Remember, the set does have a copy of Negate in hand. See what this is. Complete disregard. Gonna take care of Jace. The second to play Canopy Vista. He'll just pass the turn back over to Anderson. Anderson will untap all those lands. He'll take a draw step. Mystic Monastery, Jace up to 3. There's a land, pass the turn back. 8 lands available, it means 2 activations of Mastery of the Unseen.
See Anderson's plan here. Well, just respond to what Lossett does. If Lossett puts things on the board, and if Lossett fails to do that, make some tokens.
Abzan Charm's gonna resolve.
It also has an Utter End waiting to be flashed back as well.
In case anything goes wrong.
As if this Jace hasn't caused enough carnage in this game. Still ready to flash back another Terminate or another Draw 2.
We have our first match result. It's been a good run for Tom Ross, but he is out of the tournament. Lee Marino gonna get the job done over Tom Ross in the Tarka Red Mirror. He will move on to play the winner of Logan Mize and Zach Mendelblatt.
I thought Marino just had a little bit more going on for the mirror match.
Jace the play here. Gonna get a Mastery trigger. And now another one. Anderson is tapped out. We'll see if Lossett wants to do anything to take advantage of that, but he can't. So now we just go back Todd's way. He'll draw a card. Looks like it may have been Ojutai's command. Kolagon's command. Gonna target Lossett. It's gonna go upstairs, say, kill your Jace, make you discard.
And Anderson ready to flash that back.
Negate. That'll resolve. What do you think, Jace? A good card or a bad card?
I'd say that Todd has gotten his 2 mana's worth out of this game.
Kolagon's command again. Down goes Wooded Foothills. And now here come the beatdowns.
Yeah, and Todd there, you know, if Lossett has another counterspell, knock yourself out. Flashback the spell.
Here's Jace.
Todd may have missed a tick there.
I think he may have missed moving up Jace, yeah. Which is actually bad now because I think he wants to flashback Kolagon's command to kill. He's going to. What's this? Another negate. All right.
All right. You got off the table. It only generated, I'm guessing 9 cards. I don't know. It's a rough estimate.
Roughly. Over to the set we're gonna go. Gonna activate Jace. 2 lands in Joe's hands, so he's got to discard one of them. There goes Wooded Foothills. Jace will flip. He'll start on 5. Todd's got a lot of stuff covered here with Disdainful Stroke, though.
Yeah, I mean, Lossett can kind of go under a little bit and try to flash back something like Abzan Charm. I don't think he can plus the Jace because Anderson can make some Mastery tokens and keep pressuring. And Lossett's got to get a little bit of value here.
As Joe figures out what he wants to do this turn, Vikram Kudva does tie things up against Paul Bradford. So Esper tokens and 4-color rally going to game number 3. Here's Kolagon's command. Kill Manifest. Make Todd discard, I believe. Yep. I was going to kill and return Siege Rhino. I don't think Siege Rhino is going to resolve.
Yeah, it's just a question of which counterspell you want to use. Disdainful Stroke means he gets to leave Ojutai's command back and be able to make a token this turn, but from a mana efficiency standpoint, it's a little easier to get this out of the hand. Also, Disdainful Stroke covers some things that Ojutai's command does not.
You need to counter that, bring back Jace, which means you can flip Jace again. Mountain the draw. It's a pretty good one to discard to Jace. Kill Jace with the Manifest. Oh, Treasure Cruise. Well, like he was running out of cards.
Yeah, he was running really thin on resources there, so.
Gonna go down to 2. Kolagon's command, get the last card.
Now you can just use Mastery and try to finish off the game.
Yep. Disdainful Stroke as protection. Plenty of cards to delve away. See if he wants to catch Treasure Cruise's turn or not. Looks like the answer is no. Joe picks up a copy of Floodstray and he'll concede the game. So, Todd Anderson's going to win game number 2 here against Joe Lossett. Jeskai Black, 5-color Bring to Light. Get ready for game number 3.
Master of the Unseen feels like a pretty big trump in the matchup.
Feels pretty nice, right?
Not a card that's easy for Joe to answer. He's got some other ends, but that's a tough way to do it. And when the game peters out, we saw the Creature Lands and Lumbering Falls and Shambling Vent. Those were significant once the game went on later and people had a lot of mana to work with and kind of ran out of cards. Mastery of the Unseen is a substantially more powerful version of the same effect.
These players will shuffle up here for game number 3. Perhaps take a look at each other's sideboards one more time before they do present their decks. So we'll talk about the Star City Games YouTube page. YouTube.com/Star City Games is the place to go to watch the replays of this Open and a whole bunch more.
A lot of great content there, stuff from the Versus series, premium archives, Open series archives, and content that's exclusive to the YouTube page, such as unboxings. You can head over to youtube.com/Star City Games, become a subscriber today, and get notified when new content is uploaded to the page.
The Season 4 leaderboard, the race is tight. We do know that. Number 5 here in Joe Lossett, number 7 in Todd Anderson, and unfortunately for Tom Ross, he was number 8. He just got knocked out of the tournament, but you can add 10 points, so 247. But you can also add 10 points to Todd, and then 10 points to Joe, and probably a few more for Rudy. So Tom might still just be an 8th.
It's a little bit of separation from Eric Hawkins.
Very true.
That's the big win
That
here
is
for
that
Ross.
is the big one. As you take a look at page number 2, that's where you'll find Eric Hawkins at 235. He'll get a couple of participation points here this weekend, but his IQ went poorly, his main event went poorly, and we know how well Logan Mize' main event has gone. He's got at least 10 points coming, so 239. So right now, if we ended things, Logan Mize would be in, Eric Hawkins would be the first person out, along with Chris Anderson and Caleb Scherer.
It's going to be really tight in Vegas.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You see the options available here for both players. Don't think a lot changes player draw. I think whatever options they like for the matchup, they just bring in.
No, this is, as you can tell, these games go on for a while, so I don't think it's that much of a play-draw biased matchup.
The only person that's got to win so far is Lee Marino. He's playing a Tarka Red. Took out Tom Ross in a Tarka Red mirror. Going to play the winner of Logan Mize and Zach Mandelblatt. Zach Mandelblatt currently up a game with his Jeskai Black deck over Logan Mize, the #1 overall seed, playing Amazon Aggro. Vikram Kudva and Paul Bradford, that's Esper Tokens and 4-color Rally. They're in game number 3. And of course, right in front of you, Joe Lossett, Todd Anderson. They're about to go to game number 3. I ain't lie, I know that Magic Online have been fighting up the old extra turns deck.
Yep.
Might be dialing up a little standard action tonight. Just saying. Sorry, man.
Watching the extra turns deck is pretty fun.
It's a lot of fun to play a deck that has no good matchups.
Yes.
I think that's my real benefit from it.
Every win is so satisfying.
It is, because you have to work so hard.
So hard.
Yeah. Just begging to get to turn 4. And
Right.
that might not even be good enough.
No.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Because your real curve starts at 5. It's time warp. That's the first step.
I like that time warp is where the curve starts.
The rest of it's filler, and
Yep.
then once you get to 5 mana, then things really start humming.
Maybe we spike a Temporal Master in the draw step.
Maybe. It's very important.
Look, I might get the Explorers tonight and the Breeding Pools.
Temporal Mastery and Explorer are pretty close to the same card, and Temporal Mastery is the best card in the deck, so I think that Explorer could be warranted.
All right. I'll look into the cards. All right. Looks like Anderson going to take a mulligan. Lossett happy with his 7. Not made of tickets over here, man.
I know.
That's because I keep losing them all.
Yeah, with the Time Warp deck.
With the Time Warp deck.
No
yeah.
Explorers.
Yeah, that's the problem right there. They go hand in hand.
I can send you some Breeding Pools, you know?
You do that for me?
Yeah.
We have like 2, probably.
I have a play set.
What?
I got all the Ravnica duels. I knew I would need them at some point.
But you would never play a Breeding Pool deck.
I might have played Infect.
All right, that's fair.
I just have them, you know? You don't know when you're going to want them.
All right,
You have Misty Rainforest too?
No.
Yeah.
I have Yamamaya Coast.
Ugh.
About the same card.
In second place with 17 points has been Wissing.
Todd is going to keep his opening hand, and now he's going to
In
scry.
third place with 16 points.
I'd rather play with Hinterland Harbor, by the way.
I do not own that.
Not taking damage.
Fourth place with 16 points is Wiley Chipson.
Joe going to go down to 19.
In fifth place with 16 points is Dylan Nolan. In sixth place, also with 16 points, is Alex Smith.
There's a prairie stream.
Between Magic Online and my physical collection, I have 8 copies of Godless Shrine and 8 copies of Overgrown Tomb. I would never play with either card.
That's very true.
Just want to be prepared.
With, you might have guessed it, 16 points, is Scott Davis.
Let's see what turn 2 brings for
The
Joe.
full standings for the event are now posted on the pairings board that was for A through B.
Just a Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn back. Smoldering March here for Anderson. He'll kick it back over to Lossett. Now, Joe actually had the option to play Jace on turn 2 if he wanted to. His Bloodstained Mire could have searched up a basic and he could have played it, but he elected not to. Perhaps he's got something else on his mind.
Could be an issue with getting his colored mana assembled.
Please come see me at the stage.
Wouldn't surprise me if this Bloodstained Mire went and got a black source of mana if he elected not to make that play. Or green. Yeah, he's going off color.
Okay. Cinderglade is the land Joe finds. Our Legacy Premier IQ top 8 has just been announced, and none of the Players' Championship hopefuls made the top 8 of that tournament. So no movement there. Here's Jace. Well, I mean, what this reeks of is Jace being protected by Dispel.
Yeah.
You're going to see me in this line right here.
And there's Fiery Impulse.
If you have not filled out a W9 with us,
Fire away.
you need to do so with my friend Emily on the stage. There's a lot of you. Is there a 10th, 13th, 14th, 21st?
Todd with his own Dispel in hand.
26, 28, or 29. You need to fill out tax information before I give you your prize.
So Jace down, 2 for 2 trade there. We go back Lissette's way. And oh, wow. Joe just has to pass the turn back. And Joe's draw for the turn was Painful Truth. And this is part of playing 5 colors. It doesn't line up perfectly every time. It'll line up well quite a bit, but not every time. And we know Todd has a Painful Truth in his hand, and he's got black mana. He'll draw a card. See if he's willing to fire off here. And the answer is yes. Does Lossett have an answer to this? The answer is no. 3 cards are huge right now for Anderson. That's going to undo that mulligan. Treasure Cruise in hand. Now, Todd doesn't have a lot of lands left in his hand as he just plays an island. Lossett will draw basic forest.
Still no black mana.
That means no Siege Rhino. That means no a lot of stuff. Pass the turn back. Over to Anderson. Can he find a land? Jace is what he's found. He'll start by playing Vryn's Prodigy.
Doesn't have to worry about Kolaghan's command.
Nope. Oh boy, Lissette's just gonna be a pass in the turn back. Anderson picks up a copy of Bloodstained Mire. Jace gonna go active. Todd will draw and discard. Picked up another copy of Bloodstained Mire. Jace down. Telepath Unbound is here. It's a Bloodstained Mire now here for Anderson.
Can't imagine he has much interest this turn in flashing back Painful Truths because I think he'll have to discard a hand size. Wouldn't shock me if this Jace just went up, but if Todd's fetching, he's might be making a move here. Might be flashing back Painful Truths regardless.
Potentially. He does have 2 copies of Treasure Cruise in his hand as well, so Painful Truths could be interesting to him because he just casts that now and maybe just discards Treasure Cruise. Something. It's tough to say.
Yeah, I like this play from Anderson. Looks like he's just plussing Jason passing. You know, Lossett here is missing colors of mana and missing land drops, and he could easily have Disdainful Stroke in hand.
Yeah. Here's Nissa. It's an attempted Ochitais command. Lossette's got good protection with that and Dispel. So Nissa's in. That said, Nissa is fairly medium to me right now.
Yeah, it's at least it resolved. It's something going on, but the main problem for Lossett right now seems to be a lack of black mana, and this does not help there.
Yeah. Anderson will draw. Utter end. A lot of gas in the grip, not a ton of lands right now. And he's got the easy ability to reload. Down goes Jace. Fiery Impulse, get that thing out of here. Bloodstained Mire, sacrifice that. There's a Sunken Hollow. And now, it's time to cruise. And the thought here is, this is 100% going to resolve. And what can Joe do to punish me? And this is what the big deal, I think, is here. We saw this in the last game, too, right? Where Todd tapped out for a treasure cruise. And, okay, do your worst.
So many of Lossett's follow-ups are creatures. It's just, here is a creature. And Lossett's follow-up here is going to be a creature, or it's going to be a way to get Jace off the table. Neither of those punish Todd for tapping low at all.
Yeah, if the follow-up was some busted, like, Ulamog Ugin-esque card,
Yeah, there's nothing.
I would be scared. But if I'm Todd, bring the light, sure. Curious to see what this is going to find.
I mean, if this is getting something like Siege Rhino, who even cares, right?
Yeah,
Anderson's going to be able to kill that pretty easily.
there's the Rhino. Another update here for you guys. Logan Mize' incredible run has come to an end. Zach Mandelblot takes him down. Jeskai Black going to take care of Abzan Aggro, perhaps off the back of those Mantis Riders.
Yeah, I thought that Zach had a lot of game for the matchup. Ends Logan's run, won both games on the draw. A great weekend for Logan, but definitely short of what he wanted to accomplish here, given his gap in the Race for Players Championship.
We're heading back Anderson's way now. Going to sacrifice a Flooded Strand, will Todd. And the only place where I think Todd might feel a little shaky is just the life total being at 10.
It's hard for Lossett to hammer him too bad for that.
There's Crackling Doom. Down goes the Rhino. Lossett will take 2. Jace going to get cashed in. Ojtai's command. That's the most adorable thing I've ever seen. I think he's just going to get Jace back and gain 4 life. Wants to keep his life total high.
Yeah, and that's a really bad sign if you're Lossett in this matchup that's all about card advantage and Todd's got enough to work with where you say, I'd just rather have the 4.
Joe finally found black mana with the Polluted Delta. So he will get to play now. We'll just see how he wants to do it. There's Smoldering Marsh. Complete disregard will take care of Jace for good. Back over to Anderson. Duress the draw. Might want to see what's going on over there.
And Henderson's hand just stocked right now.
2 Utter Ends, Treasure Cruise, couple of lands. Painful Truth, Siege Rhino, Utter End, and a gate here for Joe Lossett.
Right now, Anderson can just go ahead, take the negate, Treasure Cruise, and hope to find an answer for the Painful Truths. And even if he doesn't, it's probably not the end of the world. He's so far up on cards right now.
I'd say negate is the most annoying of the bunch here. He's gonna go with painful truths. Okay.
He might feel like it's just a huge cost for Lossett to leave up 2 mana right now, and also that Lossett can't really get back in the game unless he resolves his own large source of card advantage.
Todd just gonna sack a fetch line now and pass the turn back. Lossett will draw a card.
Anderson also might feel like Lossett's likely to cast a Siege Rhino, and he might get Lossett to use the negate fighting over keeping the Rhino in play. If Anderson can trade a Crackling Doom for a negate and then resolve his Treasure Cruise, that's the ideal scenario. So with Lossett being tight on mana and Lossett maybe wanting to fight the fight over keeping a Rhino in play, he might find a better spot for it.
Lossett's draw for the turn was an Abzan Charm. And that's going to resolve. This one's not over.
No, I mean, Anderson's in a holding pattern right now because of the negate. And other than you have Treasure Cruise versus negate right now, and then you just have creatures against removal spells. So the game's at something resembling parity right now.
Lossett going to sacrifice Bloodstained Mire, fall a little bit lower. There's Sunken Hollow. You knew Joe would work his way out of the mana issues he was having sooner or later.
It's an issue with Anderson's construction. Does not put a lot of pressure on the opponent. There's a lot of time to draw out.
Another update here for you guys. Vikram Kudva does win his match over Paul Bradford. Esper Tokens takes care of 4-color rally. So we could have a Vikram versus Todd Anderson rematch if Todd's able to win.
But this game over here is getting swung around the other direction now.
Yeah, it was curious to me about leaving the negate. I wasn't in love with that play.
Well, Lossett's draw steps have basically max punished Anderson for this line of play. I understood what he wanted to do there, which is basically say, you don't get to draw cards. Eventually, I'm going to find another discard spell or something to play through your negate. You might use the negate on something inconsequential, and then I get to resolve the Treasure Cruise. But Lossett has just drawn card drawing spells, which is the worst case scenario for Anderson, having taken that line of play.
Might be time for a Rhino now. Yep. And I can't imagine that Joe's going to fight over keeping this Rhino on the battlefield.
No, this Rhino it's a trigger, and that's pretty much all it is.
Yep. Otteran's going to take care of that for good. And Joe didn't even think twice about that. The reason I personally don't like leaving the negate in hand is because Joe's deck has a high density of card drawing spells, and it has a finite number of negates. It has a much lower number of negates than card drawing spells. We know he has Abzan Charm. You know he has Treasure Cruise. He has some number of Painful Truths. Especially, he's boarding in Painful Truths after sideboard.
Yeah.
So now Todd is in this, holding pattern or problem where he's got a Treasure Cruise in hand that he just can't cast, and if he does cast it, Joe is going to counter it so fast. Now Joe's worked his way over to Den Protector too. Yep, there's a morph. That's good. Pass the turn back. I do not like where this game is going for Todd Anderson at all.
Lossett's got about as much mana in play now, more relevant cards in hand, more sources of card advantage. There was some risk with the line that Anderson took there, for sure. Taking Painful Truths over Treasure Cruise, and Lossett's draw steps have not been kind to Anderson for taking that line, and now Lossett is the one pulling ahead in the card advantage battle.
Den Protector's going to be on Megamorph. It'll get a +1/+1 counter here in just a moment. And Joe going to get back Painful Truths. Crackling Doom does resolve. So Anderson will draw. He's found a copy of Painful Truths. This is what he needed to break serve. Yeah, just another card drawing spell. And now Lossett's going to cash in. And now here's Treasure Cruise. Okay.
Customer service.
Definitely the damage has been done, but at least Anderson is gassing back up.
So Anderson going to figure out what to delve away. And these 3 cards are pretty important. He's got to find some good ones here. Fiery Impulse, Flooded Strand, Bloodstained Mire. Not exactly. Play a Bloodstained Mire. Sacrifice that. Fall down to 9. Get a basic mountain, pass the turn back. Over to Lossett. Joe might be wondering what the heck's going on over there.
It's counter spells, lands, and removal. That's it. Everything else gets played on the main phase.
Yeah. Anderson's probably clear for takeoff with most of the spells now because the negate's gone, but, you know, Lossett potentially drew other spells, so doesn't mean everything's good. Looks like it might be Joe Lossett's turn to gas back up with Painful Truths. Yep. Just going to take a look at the graveyard, Will Anderson. That's gonna resolve, it looks like. So 3 cards at the cost of 3 life here for Lossett. A Nissa among the cards in hand now. Yeah, Joe's caught back up on cards in a big way. Those mana issues that he had on the opening turns of the game, those are long gone. There's a Bloodstained Mire.
People do not run out in these matchups.
Nope. Pluto dealt to the draw there for Anderson. But this game is nowhere near as fluid as the last one for Todd. You know, that Jace, you know, as you said, flashback, Treasure Cruise, and everything else that it did that previous game. It's not happened this game.
In all these games, it does look like Todd floods out a little bit, but that's because he draws so many cards and he's playing with so many lands. He's going to have all, he's going to be making all of his land drops once you get to this part of the game. Maybe he's drawn more lands than he would like, at least, or I'm certain that that's the case, but not uncommon for Anderson to end up with just this much mana in play.
And truthfully, it's kind of a spot that he kind of wants to end up in, right? Because he just wants to play a lot of spells in one turn.
Set up Soulfire Grandmaster plus action.
Yep. Not sure Soulfire Grandmaster's in his deck after sideboard, by the way. Here's Nissa.
You can see Anderson now basically out.
There's Wooded Foothills. That's going to flip it.
And Lossett just with a fistful of spells at this point.
Lossett is going up. That's on the stack. Here's Utter End. Maybe Anderson can run him out of threats.
It's hard to do.
That's not easy, yeah. Utter End does resolve. Crackling Doom.
Lenny Vansaya, please come up to the stage. And Sam Bolio, come to the stage, please.
Joe with a lot of cards in hand, as we mentioned. Looks like 7. Anderson, Shambling Vent, pass the turn back. Yeah, Todd's on E, and Joe is anything but. I'm not sure how well all of Joe's cards line up. I think he's pretty reactive right now with answers to creatures, which Todd doesn't have a lot of after sideboard. But He's going to start by sacrificing a Bloodstained Mire, fall down to 11. I think the best draw that Todd has right now is probably Master of the Unseen.
Yep.
Assuming that resolves.
Or card draw or into Mastery.
Yeah.
You know, but yes, he needs some very long-term source of card advantage to recoup the hole he's in right now. Even a Treasure Cruise that doesn't yield a Master of the Unseen will probably not give Todd enough resources to get back in.
Looks like Joe's got something to cast here. Wait, he's reaching for mana. Setting up 5 mana. It feels like Bring to Light, but he's going to play Windswept Heath and sacrifice that first. Okay, so down to 10. All right, basic planes.
I think both players are approaching end of the line for lands they can fetch for.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Yep, I think this is going to be a Bring to Life for 5 with the way that Joe set up his mana here. Yep. That's good to go. No reaction there from Anderson. Kolaghan's Command might be the choice here. There is Kolaghan's Command. I think it's discard, rebuy something. Pluto Delta down. Back to Todd. Kolaghan's Command of his own. Might do the old deck count.
Both players have got to be pretty low at this point.
Oh, yeah. Aha. Gonna dial up the old Shambling Vent. All right.
Anderson's got mana to spare, so.
Yeah, and he feels like he's got life to spare. Flip the life totals, 8 to 10 now. I think we're gonna see Crackling Doom here.
Most likely. At this point, Joe should really focus on being mana efficient because he's got a lot of spells to work with, including a Den Protector.
Shambling Vent down. So. We're going to go back to Lossett now. Almost 70 minutes into this match between these two. There's so much on the line here.
When people don't run out, the games can go on for a while.
Oh, yeah. That's a nightmare there in Morph. Because you know what that means. That's Den Protector. And Joe's got all the spells in the world to buy back. Fire Impulse going that way. Lossett looking at Dispel, Negate, Crackling Doom, Kolaghan's Command, Bring to Light, Treasure Cruise. Who knows what? He's thinking Kolaghan's Command.
Yep. Just another Raised Dead, essentially another Den Protector.
Anderson will draw. Jace.
Poorly timed in the face of the Kolaghan's Command.
To say the least. It's really all on Mastery now. At least it feels that way to me.
I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking for Spencer Lingenfeller.
He's so far behind on cards at this point that even the Ancestrals I don't think are worth all that much.
Lossett gonna play Kolaghan's Command. Gonna cause Todd to discard and get back Den Protector.
It's the first time I've seen a game slow enough to set up this loop.
It is a heck of a loop, isn't it? Den Protector face down. Pass the turn back. Anderson will draw. Negate. That might matter at some point.
Would have mattered about 6 or 7 turns ago.
Kolagon's command. Looking to kill that Den Protector, and we'll figure out what else in just a moment. Den Protector for Joe is going to get back his Kolagon's command. Todd's going to get back Jace. He'll cast one of them. Not going to get him very far. Here's Utter End to kill that for good. And unsurprisingly, he's not going to fight over that.
Yeah, there's no real progress to be made against someone with Kolagon's command in hand.
Yeah, that negate's actually very precious right now, because it's one of the few things that I think he can use to force mastery through.
Yes.
And potentially protect it. There's a Jace from Joe. A pass. Over to Anderson we go. Draw a card. Crackling Doom. Yeah, that'll kill it. Sure.
That is fine. Active player, turn 0, followed by 5 additional turns.
All of this is still Anderson just swimming upstream, though.
To say the least. It's the light at the end of the tunnel is very hard to see. It's there, I believe, but it's very hard to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the modern Premier IQ,
Joe's looking at his Salumgar's command now.
if you believe that you will be making a top 32 in the modern Premier IQ,
So that means he feels like he needs this Jace for something.
Or that he just has mana to spare and a lot of cards in hand, and if he can cash things in profitably, he should try to do that.
There's Negate to fight over that.
stage if you have not filled out tax information.
And now Jace. And Todd will cross his fingers and hope this does anything. But we know Joe has Kolagon's command, so it's unlikely. Anderson empty-handed. There's Kolagon's command. Take that down. Get back Den Protector. Morph Den Protector. And even now, I'm not even sure if Mastery does it because there's a negate down there. So the only way this works is if, okay, well, Joe gonna tap to Treasure Cruise. So unclear if he has any Lance Search up in his deck.
I think he's out because he's been sitting on those lands for a while.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think this is the turn where Todd can draw Mastery and actually have a shot. Because I don't think that Joe can now unmorph Den Protector and get back Negate to counter Mastery. So I believe this is the one turn where it can happen. Now, if Joe drew a Negate, none of this matters, and it looks like he has.
Well, I'm not even sure if Mastery is a big out at this point because I'm not sure if Anderson could just stop Den Protector attacking, backed up by Kolagon's command and some leftovers.
Sure.
You know, Joe could get back a Siege Rhino at some point.
The draw is a mountain. That ain't it. Todd gonna take a look to see what Joe can return. There's a lot of goodies down there. Lossett just gonna untap and draw a card. Picked up a copy of Jace. He's ground him down.
Yes.
He's ground him all the way down.
Joe still has a full hand of spells.
Yeah. There's a Rhino, and that's gonna do it. Joe Lossett's gonna win this match here over Todd Anderson, 2-1, and he is pretty pumped up about it. You don't get a lot of motion out of Joe. But he's moving on to the quarterfinals. Excuse me, he's moving on to the semifinals here. And for now, Todd Anderson, Logan Mize, Tom Ross, all out of the tournament. Joe's got to be thrilled about that.
Best possible breakdown for him in this quarterfinals with all three of the other people that are trying to chase him for the Players' Championship, knocked out of the event. Joe didn't even know he was playing for top 8 going into the last round of the Swiss, won that round, ended up here in the 7th seed. A tough, long match.
To say the least.
Against Todd, was able to turn the corner there, grind him down after missing black mana for numerous turns early on in the game.